Welcome into OutKick the show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. Let me just be clear. I don't even know what the general consensus is. I loved season 2, and I absolutely loved the finale that we just saw. Now, I understand there's probably going to be a lot of people who said, hey, all we did was really get to the precipice here, and we never really jumped over. It felt like we were setting up for an epic battle. And the epic battle never came, and I kept looking down at my phone thinking, okay, are we going to get some sort of conclusion, some sort of climactic battle here in this season? And with about 10 minutes to go, I was like, probably not. But I still thought it was phenomenal. I'm back old school style with my entire notes that I took. This is one of the first ones that I've gotten to watch live this year because I've been on the road so much. For those of you who remember, we've been doing Game of Thrones reaction shows for years and years. I think we did House of the Dragon last year. I can barely even remember. But this is the first one that I know we have done this year. So let me just dive in again. Off the top, I loved this season. I thought it was really, really good. Were there flaws? Yes, but I thought it was fantastic. I liked it better than season 1, and I thought the episode that we just finished with is one of the best constructed out there. Now, what did we see? Tywin Lannister is trying to break the blockade, goes and gets challenged by a female admiral that kind of comes out of nowhere and automatically turns into kind of a badass. Really entertaining. She said, I won't sail with a man who can't best me. Tywin Lannister says, at what? He's kind of got the same kind of Jaime Lannister vibe to him. And it later comes out that they're going to mud wrestle. And then this chick says, I wish to have children by you. Going to be some cursing, by the way. I want you to fuck my wives. And he says, well, how many wives do you have? Lohar also asked if have you ever eaten the flesh of your enemies? She's joking. It's hard to know what is true and what is not. But I thought this subplot suddenly introduced both of them as really interesting characters, boom, at the end of season 2. Big picture story, I would say, that we're dueling throughout this episode, and to some extent has been the characterization and storyline of this episode overall. Fathers, sons, bastards, the dragons as basically nuclear war, that if you ever use them, it destroys whatever you would like to take possession of. So there's a reticence to unleash them. To me, there's a Rhaenyra analogy with Harry Truman when it comes to dropping bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. She knows in theory what she needs to do to end the war, but she's concerned about what the cost will be to end the war. And that is why the dragons are, essentially, to me, the nuclear war analogy. A weapon so strong that it destroys whatever you would possess is the way that I would describe it. How about the phrase fucking mad cunt? Again, quotes. After you have the destruction, Aemon destroying the sharp point area because he's recognizing that suddenly these new dragon riders have changed the balance of equation and power in favor of Queen Rhaenyra, and he feels like he needs to act out and do whatever he has to. Larys Strong, the cripple, says that Aegon must leave, says that Aegon says, well, no, I'll arrest Aemon, and then the response is, well, what are you going to do then? You won't have a dragon. And so you've got Aegon agreeing by the end, it appears, to leave, flee secretly, go to Braavos to live and wait for his time to potentially return to power. Aegon says he has a cock like a sausage on a spit, that he can't even pee. Super graphic and descriptive about how bad his wounds are from what Aemon did to him when he brought down his dragon and allowed him to fall nearly to his death. You have the prince, Jace, who is coming to grips with the fact that he's also a bastard, but wants to in some way distinguish himself from the new bastard riders of all of the dragons. We have 3 bastards. 2 of them are behaving or at least one of them is behaving as if he doesn't belong in the court, and so you have that conflict. Adam of Hull, Corliss's bastard, is it seems fairly well established. We later get the other Corliss son who's on the boat, and the Corliss situation is just that speech that he gives, the son who wants to stay loyal to the ocean, is incredibly powerful, about how when he was a kid, he used to struggle to make money to be able to live, and he used to see Corliss, who was his dad and wouldn't give him any help at all, going along the market to buy whatever rich foods he could to basically have dessert after full meals. I thought that this episode was so phenomenally well written. I jotted down a lot of the lines. We're going to get to them in a little bit, that seemed so fatalistic, but so profound. I just thought it was, I don't know who wrote it, but I thought this episode was fabulously well done. Aemon then says, hey, Queen Helena, you need to fly your dragon. You got Damon at Harrenhal with Alfred Broom coming as an emissary, theoretically, from Rhaenyra, but telling Damon, hey, we need a king, not a queen. The queen who never was, by the way, new ship name for Corliss. And then we get Kristen Cole as he's sitting there stroking the napkin, or I guess handkerchief more accurately, the handkerchief that's been given to him by Alicent. Alicent's brother walks up and threatens to kill Kristen Cole and says, you are the queen's lover. And there are so many amazing lines here. I mean, Kristen Cole says, true honor is a mist that melts in the morning, which is just, I mean, I don't know if that's a quote from somewhere else, or I don't know if George R.R. Martin came up with it. Remember, I haven't ever read the books, but that's an amazing line. And then he says, the dragons dance and men are like dust at their feet. I'm giving some more of the quotes from what I thought was an incredible speech from Kristen Cole. We march now toward our annihilation. To die will be a kind of relief, don't you think? And then Alicent's brother just sits down beside him, is just like, holy hell, you've just blown my mind with all these revelations. I thought that was one of the most powerful scenes, certainly in House of the Dragon at all. I mentioned about Lohar and the mud wrestling. I thought that this episode started to have a bit more humor through the Lohar and the Tywin Lannister character. What I would say in general, I have not seen as much from House of the Dragon, is the humor that the Tywin Lannister, the character Jaime Lannister, there were a lot, Tyrion, there were a lot of very funny characters, even amidst the seriousness inside of the Hound, for those of you who all watched Game of Thrones. And so I felt like we were missing some of that humor. And it felt to me like they mixed the humor well, because you have this profound speech from Kristen Cole about marching to his death. And then, boom, you got a guy and a girl mud wrestling and making jokes about cannibalism. And then I wish to have children by you. I want you to fuck my wives. Lohar has a bunch of wives. I mean, I thought it was incredibly well done. You got the dinner with the new riders of the dragons, which is creating this disconnect between the people who are steeped in power based on their blood and the people who are the offspring, bastard offspring of those in power that have never had any ability to have power at all. Again, decent humor, I thought there. Basically Rhaenyra saying a knight doesn't behave like this, and he said, well, make me a knight. And then you go to the Godswood tree with the witch Alice, and Damon sees the future. And it's like, after all of the visions that he's been having in Harrenhal, after all of the uncertainty about what his life's purpose is, he puts his hand on that tree, and suddenly he sees the future. He sees Rhaenyra on the throne. He sees the blood, the death, the White Walkers. He sees later on Daenerys being born with the 3 dragon eggs. Which is obviously a callback to Game of Thrones. He sees all the way into the future and decides that the future is with Rhaenyra. Also, then you have Helena, who we've known has had some sort of second eye, some sort of vision into the future. And she says to Jaime, you know your part. You know what you must do. And then you flash from Helena talking to Damon in the Heron Hall after he puts his hand into the Godswood tree, and she says to Aemon, "Will you burn me as you did Aegon? I saw it. You burned him, and you let him fall." Remember, that's been the threat that Aemon has given Aegon from that moment, that you better not tell anybody about what actually happened between the two of us. But Sir Criston Cole saw it in some way, and that's what he's referencing with the High Tower. And so that scene was incredible. Also, Helena, far more interesting in this episode. We knew that she had sort of that second sight, the ability, because she had forecast the fact that they were going to get in with the rats to start off the first episode when her son was decapitated. I thought that was incredible. And then she gives Aemond a prophecy of his death. Then you get Rhaenyra riding to Harrenhal, and she asks the question as she walks in, skies above, and to whom are you sworn? And then you have Damon essentially revealing his vision to everyone, kneeling before her, saying, "You are the true queen. I am meant to serve you." They're then talking Old Valyrian, and Rhaenyra says, "Leave me again at your peril." And Damon basically says, "I've tried. I'll never do it again. I can't do it." And then Damon rallies all of the soldiers there and says, "For every one of us who falls, there will be 100 of them. We fight for our queen." I just mentioned, then you cut to Lord Corlys with the bastard son, who's not the dragon rider, the one that is staying committed to the ocean. They obviously have Targaryen blood, but he didn't know because we don't really know anything about their mother to my knowledge. There's a wild dragon. One of the daughters of Damon and Lenora, I think was her name, who died, obviously, in childbirth. She has never been able to get a dragon, but she is out trying to get a dragon, and we end with the question of whether or not she's going to begin to have a dragon as well. The gods favor you, says Mysaria, and the conversation that she had already had with Lord Corlys is that it's time for Rhaenyra to act while everything is in her favor, and that that she cannot continue to wait and see what is going to what's going to happen, because everything is in her favor then. You then have Alicent, another incredible scene. I would say there were like 4 or 5. Holy crap, compelling, phenomenal scenes. Alicent travels to see Rhaenyra, sneaks into the castle, says that all she wants is to take my daughter and her child and leave it all behind. There's an incredible tension between Rhaenyra and Alicent, who were childhood best friends. She says he, meaning Viserys, never stopped loving your mother, you know. And then Rhaenyra keeps saying, "Why have you come here?" Alicent says, "I'm going to allow you to take the throne when Aemond leaves with his dragon in 3 days. I'm going to have all of the king's guard stand down, and you can take the throne." And then she says, Rhaenyra does, "What of Aegon? I must take Aegon's head." And so she says, "A son for a son." For a long time, Alicent doesn't answer. She doesn't seem willing to. Then you obviously have the scene where they're leaving with Larys Strong, and the question is, does Alicent know that her son has already fled, which is making Rhaenyra take the throne part of her plan, and she's trying to get her son and her daughter, as well as the daughter's daughter, her granddaughter, away without being killed? Like, in other words, how committed is Alicent to her plan, and how aware is she of what Larys Strong is doing? You would think she would know, because she and Larys Strong have had quite the relationship over the years. It seems unlikely that he would be trying to put this stuff in motion with Aemond without her being aware, which does raise the question of duplicity, but also explains why she doesn't answer about whether she's willing to give up him. She says, take the throne in 3 days. They then have a discussion. Rhaenyra says, history will make you a villain. And Alicent says, I'm at last myself. Essentially, all she wants to do is be free. And it reflects back, if you remember, of her laying in the water staring at the sun in sort of an Ophelia-like, for those of you who are Hamlet fans. I thought she might be about to drown herself in that scene, but she just wanted to stare up at the sky, I think, and feel free and unburdened of all the responsibilities of the crown. Now, that is my analysis of the entire episode. As I said, I loved it. We obviously have set the table for an incredible season 3, where you have what I would say basically is the stars in their courses, effectively so many different people going to war. And the question is, how does Rhaenyra rise to the throne, and what is the method by which she does so, and where are we going to go from here? I can't imagine that Aemon, who has turned into one of the best villains, I think, in Game of Thrones history, is going to go by the wayside without a major fight. And so this episode title from my team, The Queen Who Ever Was, which is very well done. The writers credited George R.R. Martin, Ryan Condal, and Sarah Hess. I just thought it was fabulously well done. I thought that it was incredibly well written, set the table well for season 3. I understand some of you disagree, but I like season 2 more than I liked season 1, and I didn't think season 1 was bad. I enjoyed it. I am way more committed, I think, to wanting to watch season 3 now after watching season 2 than I was season 2 after season 1. I don't know if they've decided when season 3 will debut, but I feel like by the time season 3 starts, now that you're going to have 18 episodes or whatever the heck the number is of the episodes that people will continue to watch, I feel like you're starting to build some significant momentum. And for those of you out there who were, like me, big Game of Thrones fans, I would say, and I can't even remember exactly, I think the first season that I started watching Game of Thrones live was season 3, but it might have been season 4. But what happened was many of you came in at different years. You caught up. You heard all the discussions, and you said, okay, finally, I've got to watch. I think this is going to serve a propulsive effect where lots of people out there are going to be watching, getting more and more engaged. I also got to be honest with you. I don't watch that many shows now. I watch still a lot of sports, and obviously I pay a lot of attention to current events. But I don't feel like there's very many shows that have the potential to air like this one does, where I believe by season 3, we may start to get a little bit of a mini Game of Thrones effect where everybody wants to watch this live because you don't want to be worried about getting it spoiled because there's so much uncertainty as to what might happen. So that is kind of my thoughts. It feels to me like season 3 is set up. I thought maybe we were going to get an unexpected death at the end of season 2, something on that front. They didn't do it, and so I feel like we are prepared now for an incredible start to season 3. Whenever it comes back around, probably a year or 2 from now, I'm going to be giddy with anticipation about being able to look forward to it. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I don't even know what percentage of you are also like me watching House of the Dragon. I'm sorry that I haven't been, for the most part, because it's the middle of the summer, I'm sorry that I haven't been able to immediately react. I think this is the first show, maybe other than the first one, that I've actually been home for and been able to watch live. So I'm glad that I did. I absolutely loved it. Grand slam, I would say, of an episode. Solid triple of a season 2 season. I thought it was better than the first, and I look forward to the third. All right, I'm Clay Travis. This has been OutKick the Show. We'll be back tomorrow talking about the Olympics, talking about the election, and all the other chaos that has taken place over the course of the weekend. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed that new episode of House of the Dragon as much as I did. It was phenomenal. Have a good weekend. I hope you guys have fantastic Monday mornings. See ya.